Hello everyone, I'm Brian. Welcome back. Let's go and continue.
In the cause and in the effect. It's the same reality. All right, I still haven't started. Now I'm going to... If you ask those great philosophers, Nagarjuna, Chandrakirti, if you gave them this Purnam idea, what would they say? They would smile tolerantly and would say, that's cute, but it doesn't stand to reason. You must establish it on the basis of reason and experience. So that's what Advaita Vedanta sets out to do. This vision was there. In the Vedas itself, this vision was there of this Purnam. This Purnamada, Purnamidam comes from the Vedas. But how do you make it a logical philosophy, a logical worldview or God view, whatever you call it? And how do you experience it, make it part of your living, your lived life? So here goes. Advaita Vedanta, I'll take the Advaitic philosophy, which establishes this Purnam. It says, the unique thing about Advaita Vedanta is that it's not a philosophy or spiritual path which says that there's something else to be attained. What you get in Advaita Vedanta is what you have always had. Something, and what you remove in Advaita Vedanta is something that was never there. I always say it sounds like a con job. Yeah? There was this snake oil salesman in the Wild West, and he was arrested and brought before the magistrate by the sheriff on charges of offering cures to non-existent diseases and real cures to imaginary diseases and imaginary cures to real diseases. So Advaita Vedanta sounds like that. When it says, what will you get after all of this? You will get what you always had. And what will you remove? What will you get rid of? What will you improve after all of this? Said what was never there. That's what you're going to get rid of. In Sanskrit, this is called praptasya prapti, nivrittasya nivritti. But they mean it, praptasya prapti means attaining what is already attained. Nivrittasya nivritti means removing, negating, curing, something that was never there.
It does sound like it.
But what does it mean then? It is because of our ignorance, what is already attained, what was always there, seems to be not there. Advaita Vedanta says, you are Brahman. You are not this body, not this mind. You are limitless existence, consciousness, bliss. And you are that right now, whether you know it or not. Whether you believe it or not. Whether you think you're experiencing it or not. Advaita Vedanta says, it's right there. It's already attained. Just because of ignorance, it feels like, no, I don't know this. I don't experience this. I don't see this. I've told you sometimes about this class I used to attend of Ashtavakra Samhita from a great teacher in the Himalayas, in Gangotri. And sometimes, teaching us this doctrine, this teaching, he would look at us and he would say, oh monks, whether you believe it or not, whether you experience it or not, the truth is, you are Rama. Tum jano ya na jano, mano ya na mano, tum hi Ram. Your Rama means you're God. You're one with God. And what does it remove? Samsara. I am here in spiritual life because I am suffering. Like the Buddha said, there is suffering. So the first noble truth. And that has to be removed. I am suffering. I am going through birth. I'm afraid of birth and death, this cycle of birth and death. I'm terribly afraid of death. I'm afraid of old age and sickness. I'm afraid of financial ruin. And I'm suffering from the miserable behavior of others. Or from generally the suffering of humanity and other living beings in this world. There is so much suffering here. I'm suffering. And spirituality promises to take me beyond suffering. Every religious path gives you a solution. In this way you will go beyond suffering, in samadhi or by going to heaven or something like that. The Advaitic path tells you that yes, this suffering actually, what you're thinking, it's always removed. You are beyond suffering. It's because of ignorance that you think that you're in suffering. All right. So this sounds very crazy. It sounds cool. I think Americans will love it. It sounds kind of counterintuitive. But how do we make sense of it? How do we make sense of the fact that right here, right now, I am that absolute truth and I am beyond suffering. And so are we all. So Advaita Vedanta starts with experience. Not extraordinary experience, not mystical experience. See, the trick there is that someone might promise, all of this can be experienced, you don't have to believe it. But how do you experience it? Well, you put in the hard work of 40 years of meditation and then maybe you'll experience it. If you don't, better luck next life. That is no good. Advaita Vedanta says what we are talking about is right now. It is being experienced now, but you don't recognize it. You know what it's like? If Jim is here, and I don't know who Jim is, and I'm looking at him, and somebody introduces, that's Jim. I say, oh, I see, now I get it, that's Jim. Did I see somebody new? No, I was already looking at him. But I just recognized that this is Jim. Advaita Vedanta is like that. It brings us to see what is already there, but we never saw it earlier. The beautiful story of the washerman's diamond. The washerman found a diamond, but he didn't know what the diamond was. He just thought it's a rock. It's an odd-looking rock. And in India, washermen, they will take your laundry out to the river bank and they will slam it on the rocks and they'll wash it. They'll get it clean, but you'll be horrified at what they do to the fabric. Then they'll scrub it clean, and they use that rock. So he used to use this diamond to scrub dirty clothes. And he didn't know he had got something that could remove all his poverty. But he was curious. This rock is different from all other rocks. So let me ask my friend, the vegetable seller. And the vegetable seller was a little more thoughtful than the washerman. And he said, well, this rock, it's pretty. So I'll give you a bag of brinjals for it. The washerman did not sell it. He took it to somebody else who knew a little more. Finally, he took it to a diamond merchant. And the diamond merchant said, this is a magnificent diamond. I'll give you millions of rupees for it. And so all the washerman's needs were removed. His poverty was gone forever. Now that's a parable. The parable points to the fact that we already have the rock. But like the washerman, we don't know that it's a diamond. And Advaita Vedanta is like the diamond merchant who wants to introduce us to it so that all our problems are solved immediately. So what is this rock, which we all have already, right now? It is experience. In Sanskrit, anubhava. What experience? All experience. Any experience. All right now I'm going to begin. Introducing us to the rock. So follow closely.
36 minutes in and he just finally started. Jeez.
Experience, when we look at our experience, which experience? All experience. Notice one thing about experience. All experience has this structure. In every experience you find, I am the subject and this is the object. Subject and object. Look around, right now, all the time. And right now, I am the subject. Take it in a very naive way. Don't be too non-dualistic and just in a very straightforward way. Here I am the subject. And here is the object, the objective universe. I can see people, I can see chairs and the hall, I can see the road and the trees outside and the sunlight, all of that. And I can not only see, I can hear and smell and taste and touch. This is, I am the subject and I'm experiencing the object. What else appears to me? Before doing any Vedanta, just common sense. I, the subject, seem to be this body. It is instinctive. I am this body. And it seems to me this world of objects is continuously changing. I am sort of unchanging because I have been there since my childhood, as far as I remember, from babyhood. And I guess I will live for some more time. So although I am unchanging, see the paradox of it. Although I feel I am the same one, but I feel I am going to die. And this world is continuously changing, but I feel this will go on. It existed before me and it will continue to exist after me. Right? That's what we feel instinctively. I'm going to die. And not only that, I am dependent on this world of objects for everything. For my pleasure, for my entertainment, for my very sustenance. The world provides me with food without which I would die. The world provides me with air without which I would suffocate in a minute. The world provides me with shelter and with friends and with knowledge, with entertainment. When I'm bored, there is the TV or the internet. When I want to study, there are books. Everything that is good, worthwhile, and gives me happiness is provided by the world, or at least even if it's not provided, often it's withheld. And I am dependent on the world for all my happiness. True. On the other hand, the world also provides me with a lot of suffering. There is disease and pain which the world can inflict upon me. And there is physical pain, emotional pain inflicted by the behavior of other people and what's going on in the world. All my suffering seems to be caused by the object. And all possibility of happiness and nice, pleasant is the object. I am dependent helplessly upon the object. And very soon I will be crushed out of existence, dead. This is what appears to me in experience. Now bring Vedanta into play. Vedanta the first thing it introduces is a simple observation. You are the subject, right? Yes. And you experience, right? Yeah. And what do you experience? The object. That's true. Notice that the subject and the object cannot be the same thing. Object is what you experience, and subject is you, the experiencer. Notice also, consciousness or awareness is always on the side of the subject. I, the subject, am conscious of what? Of the object, and of also myself. So consciousness is on my side. You might say, why can't consciousness be on the object side? After all, there are so many conscious beings. But notice, when we look at the object, whatever we see, hear, smell, taste, touch, they are objects but not consciousness. I can see you, I can see your body, I can hear your voice, I can see your behavior. If I'm a telepath, I can look into your mind and see your thoughts also, or experience your thoughts, but I can never objectify your consciousness, your awareness. So the subject is that which experiences and is separate from the object. And the subject is also conscious. The object, consciousness is never object. It is always the subject. Now if we apply that, then we see something remarkable happening. The first result which emerges from it is, when we look at ourselves, the subject, we notice what seemed instinctive to us, that I am the subject. Where is the subject? Here. But then here, this body, am I not aware of the body? Yes, I am. And the principle is, whatever you are aware of is an object. And you are the subject, which is awareness. Or at least awareness is on your side. So if I'm aware of the body by definition must be an object, like this. This, like the clothes that I'm wearing, object. Then in this case, this body, it is an object. In fact, it's an object to all my senses. I can see it, I can touch it, I can smell it, taste it, even hear it, the sounds of the heartbeat or your tummy rumbling. All my five senses objectify the body. The body, I begin to discover, is an object. Just like things out there, it's a thing. It's a remarkable thing. It's an extraordinary biological machine. But it's still a thing. And anything that is an object to consciousness it cannot be the subject. Till now I thought I, the subject, I am this one, but I now realize this is the world of objects and part of it is the body. And that's common sense. You don't need Vedanta for it. It's just a little bit of reflection shows, yes, just as this body is an object to my doctor, the doctor who prods it and probes it and scans it and tests it, it's an object. It's a biological living object. For me also it's a biological living object. It may be the vehicle I'm embodied in right now, but still it's an object. And to me the consciousness, quite palpably so. In that case, I am not literally the body. The body is there, I'm not denying it. I seem to be embodied in this body. I seem to be, in close proximity with this body. It's there, but I am not literally it. Not only that, if I am this conscious subject, my experiences go on without the experience of the body. Let me repeat that. My experiences go on. For example, in dreams. When I fall asleep, the body is there on the bed and sleeping. I still continue to have experiences. My dreams, pleasant dreams, nightmares, all of that continues, and there no part of that dream is the body sleeping on the bed. I've completely forgotten it. What am I saying? Our conscious experience as subjects can go on without reference to this physical body. That's all I'm saying. That also goes to reinforce the idea that I, as a conscious subject, am not literally the body. My conscious experiences can go on without experiencing the body. You might say, wait, just a minute, you're pulling a fast one. Because after all, you, the conscious being, this conscious subject, is being generated by the body. The body is the reality, and the body, the brain and the nervous system are generating you, the so-called subject consciousness, which is dreaming. So you actually don't exist apart from the body. You are not a separate reality apart from the body. You are just something that's an epiphenomenon, a product of the body, processes in the body. But that's not established at all. Forget Vedanta. Even in hard science, that's what's called the hard problem of consciousness. You have that right now. There is just simply no way of reducing our first-person experience as subjects, as consciousness, to the processes in the brain. That's the whole issue, the hot topic in consciousness studies. So we will go with this. I am consciousness. I continue to exist in dreams also without reference to the body, so I cannot literally be the body. Even further, even our minds, they're also objects. Thoughts, feelings, emotions, ideas, memories, all of them I experience. If I experience them, then it's an object. I am the experiencing consciousness. This distinction between mind and consciousness, pretty much well understood in Buddhism, Sankhya, Yoga, Advaita, not understood in modern consciousness studies. Still, if you ask a person in consciousness studies, what is it that you're studying? They will give a vague answer like consciousness, mind, emotion, ideas, memories, perceptions, all of that together. But no. Now we have this analytic knife to distinguish between consciousness and the mental objects, thoughts, emotions, ideas. In fact, what we consider to be our personality. A person might say that, I really literally don't think I'm a bundle of flesh and blood, but I'm a person. I have a personal history, I have thoughts, feelings, emotions, ideas. This is who I am. But all those thoughts, feelings, emotions, ideas are also objects.
And speaking about that, actually, is a really good point. It's someone who says, "Oh, my personality, though, that's who I am." Well, you can point them into lobotomy. If my barely research is an indication, lobotomy ends up removing your personality. Well, I wouldn't say it removes your personality, but I've heard people say that it changes the person. Like they're not the same person anymore. Their personality is different. Like they have no emotion or something like that. They still look like the person, but the way they act is different. So, if someone uses it, oh, but I'm the personality, then lobotomy would be a really good argument against personality as who they are.
Some of them were not there a little while ago. Some of them have come up in your awareness now. Some of them will fade away over years. So you continue. What is you that continues? It can't be a thought. Thoughts they come and go just like that. It can't be a memory. They arise and fade away. It can't be a bundle of memories also. You are that bare consciousness which continues through the arising and disappearing of thoughts and emotions and ideas. So I am not even the mind. The mind is there, the person is there, but I am the consciousness which is dressed in the mind, dressed in the person, and dressed in the body. Vedanta gives a rather subtle, little bit of reasoning to prove this. It says that in deep sleep, as we go from dreams to deep sleep, do you still exist or not? Now, one might say, I don't exist. In deep sleep, it's nothing. It's just I'm not there. But then you would be put in a very strange position of saying that if I don't exist in deep sleep, and I cannot deny that there is a phenomenon called deep sleep, then in that case, every time I wake up, I'm created anew. I pop out of existence when I fall asleep, and I pop into existence when I wake up. It's very strange. Nobody will accept that. It's against common sense. It's against law. Law says that the one who went to sleep and the one who woke up is one and the same person, continue to exist. It's much better to say that there's some kind of sleep mode like computers have. So we went into a kind of hibernation, no activity, no experience of objects, but you existed. And if you are that consciousness, you existed. Advaita puts forward an interesting proposition. What happens in deep sleep, general anesthesia, coma, is that you continue to exist completely unaffected as this pure awareness, but no object is presented to you. It's like light in deep space. If you look at deep space, it looks dark, but it's full of light streaming from the sun. It's only when there is some object to reflect that light, suddenly you see something flashing and shining, like a comet racing through the solar system. You can see the brilliant display of the tail of the comet. But the comet doesn't come with its internal lighting. It's just light from the sun which is being reflected by the tail of the comet. And you see the brilliant display there. Similarly, if all objects are removed, there's nothing to see outside for because you're fallen asleep. You're not seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, not even aware of the body, not even dreaming, deep sleep, no physical objects, no mental objects, just blank. That's deep sleep. That doesn't mean consciousness is gone. So Advaita says in deep sleep, it's not an absence of consciousness. It's a consciousness of absence. It's not that awareness is gone, but you are aware of only blankness and absence. What comes out when you wake up is just the appearance of these objects. So therefore, I am not even the mind, because I continue as consciousness when the mind is gone in deep sleep, anesthesia, coma. So this one consciousness, which experiences through the mind and body, the physical body and the external objects, through the mind, dream objects, mental objects, and when mind and body are not appearing, just the absence of the mind and body, this one continuous consciousness, can it die? So what changes and dies? Objects, all the time, by our own experience. But consciousness itself, can it die? If it was generated by the brain, it could die, because the brain will die after some time, in the death of the body. But if you say it cannot be generated by the brain, hard problem, care of the hard problem of consciousness, how will it die? It requires change, but consciousness itself is unchanging. You say, are we supposed to believe that? Consciousness seems to be changing all the time. Early in the morning, I'm a little sleepy, and then I have a cup of coffee, and then I'm more conscious. Well, Vedanta would say what was sleepy was the mind, and what became more sharp and alert is the mind after a cup of coffee. Not consciousness itself. Consciousness revealed you as the sleepy mind. Consciousness revealed the alert mind. Consciousness was not sleepy or alert. It was shining, self-same shining consciousness. There's a logical reason why I'm saying that consciousness cannot change. Why? If it changes, and you can speak about it, you can describe it, anything that you can speak about, describe, observe is an object to consciousness. Then the change must be in the object, not in consciousness. If it was in consciousness, it could not be objectified. But one might say that, all right, let consciousness change, but we cannot see it, we cannot experience it. Then why talk of it at all? That which can never be known, why postulate it? So there is this reasoning which shows that consciousness logically cannot change. Pure consciousness, bare awareness, cannot change. Change is that which appears to consciousness. The object changes, the limited things changes. The world of objects continuously changes. That's why we have the intuitive feeling. Even when we are not doing Vedanta, we have this intuitive feeling, I am the same one. From babyhood to teenage to middle age to old age, somehow I am the same one. You have this intuitive feeling. If consciousness cannot change, how can it die? How can it die? In Vedanta, consciousness is said to be unborn, and undying. If I am unborn and undying, I have no fear of death. I, the consciousness, have no fear of death. Remember what we felt like earlier? I am entirely dependent on the world for all the goodies, and I'm scared of the world for all the baddies which come from the world. Now this one consciousness, think of this consciousness, do a mental experiment now, without reference to the world. You're not seeing anything, hearing anything, smelling, tasting, touching anything. You're not aware of the body, imagine in deep sleep. You're not thinking anything. You're not remembering anything. Suppose all memories of your personality have been erased. You've left it aside. No awareness of the external world, no memories, no thoughts, no sense of I even. Just the bare awareness. This bare awareness, what does it want? What does it want?
Nothing.
As you say, nothing. Are you with me, some of you? You're following? It wants nothing. Because wanting comes with the activity of the mind. Right? What does it, or whom does it hate?
No one.
Nothing. What does it expect? What is its guilt, sorrow, regret? Nothing. That comes with the activity of the mind. What is it waiting for? What God to appear, what samadhi to be attained, what enlightenment event. What is it waiting for? Nothing. It is deathless. It is beyond desire. It's beyond suffering, beyond wanting. It is timeless. Because time becomes obvious only when the mind starts working. Space becomes obvious only when the senses start working. You see, even when Advaita Vedanta says Brahman is all-pervading, there's already accepting space. You have accepted space, then you say it's all-pervading. When Brahman is eternal, and Buddhists have a great objection to that something is eternal. But that's only after you have accepted time, then you find a division between all objects are changing continuously, so Brahman must be eternal. But even time and space are appearances in consciousness, thanks to the mind. This one consciousness, it is deathless, it's birthless, it is complete in itself, it does not want anything at all. Does it want enlightenment, this consciousness itself? No. Some of you are not confident. If you think about it, just your thought experiment, you will say, no, if it's something like that is there, it will not want enlightenment. And if I am that, I don't want enlightenment. And this one consciousness, someone might say, yes, but that's a very kind of abstract thing. No world, no body, no mind, and then there's some bare awareness. This is not our usual worldly experience. But wait a minute. Right now, what you call the usual worldly experience, is that awareness there, here, now? Think about it this way. Are you aware right now? You'll all say, yeah, we are aware. We are seeing you. How do you know? We are having experiences. We are seeing you. All right, close your eyes. You're not seeing me anymore. You're not seeing anything anymore. Are you still aware? What do you think? I can't see your response. You have to say yes. Yes. I'm still aware. And similarly, if I plug my ears, in a sensory deprivation tank, I don't see anything, hear, smell, taste, touch anything, would I still be aware? Yeah, I'd still be aware. I'd be thinking, when is this going to end? And if I stop thinking there, no thoughts, no memories, no ideas, no desires, would I still be there? Would that awareness would be there? Logically, yes, because those are objects. If I drop them, why would the subject disappear? But it's not experiencing anything, but it's still awareness is there. Even if I drop the sense of I, the awareness, just drop that also, the awareness would still continue. And that awareness, which is there in the absence of world, body, mind, is also there right now. In fact, if you don't see, you still exist as awareness. If you don't think, you still exist as awareness. But suppose, just thought experiment, suppose that awareness itself were not there, would you be able to see? The experience of seeing? That consciousness, that awareness, if it were not there, Be bold. Just think, look at your experience.
I think the body will be able to see, but it will not be aware if awareness is not there. It's like you could say it's like a rock. Imagine if a rock is just literally covered with eyes, but with no awareness. It's constantly seeing, but it's never aware.
I, the awareness shining, I'm aware of thoughts. Through the thoughts, I'm aware of the body-mind. Through the body-mind, I'm aware of this external world. If I, the awareness, were not there, would this experience of seeing be possible? No. Would the experience of hearing, smelling, tasting, touching be possible? No. Would the experience of thinking, experience of the spiritual quest, would any experience be possible if I, the awareness, were not there? No. So this awareness, because of this, we are constantly having all these experiences. And forgetting the nature of this awareness, we are only using it for all these experiences. We are using a diamond to scrub dirty laundry. We are using it for seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting. We are using it for ambition and greed and fighting and hating. We are using it for suffering. And we are using it for a spiritual quest to take us beyond suffering. But this awareness in itself is beyond suffering already. Even in the midst of seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, it's beyond suffering. What suffers? This awareness forgetting its real nature? In alliance with the mind and the senses, and one body becomes a suffering living being, sentient being. The awareness recognizing its own nature with the help of the mind. How do you recognize? With the help of the mind. Recognizing its own nature in the midst of hearing, smelling, tasting, talking, living, doing whatever has to be done in life is free of suffering. If I identify myself, if I note that I am that bare awareness, no matter what happens, I'm actually free of suffering, in the midst of suffering also. Sri Ramakrishna, an example, famous example, dying of throat cancer.
Actually, I'm going to pause it right there. That'll be a great start for the next one, even though I think the story, he says the story quite a lot about how Sri Ramakrishna says he doesn't suffer, but then the doctor says, oh, what about this? Like, oh, you got me. Actually, no, he says that he's suffering. Something along those lines, but in the sense that the doctor kind of catches him. So anyways, that's the reaction for Purnam Part 2. If you like my content, please consider subscribing. Thumbs up, thumbs down below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next vid.